listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes and Master Coach Jenny Fontana, founders of the Life Coach Method. Each one of our uplifting and deep dive episodes is geared to help you tackle the things that hold you back from having the most magnificent life you deserve. Sit back, relax, and prepare to be coached.
You are listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes and Master Coach Jenny Fontana. And today's episode is something we can all relate to. We're going to talk about burnout. Now, whether you're a mom who's burnout, an executive who's burnout, or both, burnout is a real thing. And a lot of people mistake burnout for depression. So we're going to talk about that. And as I always say, it's better to burn out than fade away. My reference to my Gen X people from Def Leppard, and those of you that don't know that are either too young or too old listening to our podcast. So welcome. We're going to bring the energy today to talk about burnout. Miss Jenny.
Which you lack when you're in burnout, that you have no energy.
You have no energy. So let's talk about it. What does burnout mean to you?
So burnout is like critical level of exhaustion. Traditionally, I feel like the definition applied only to work, but now our definition of work has changed in 2022. So anything that causes you significant amount of stress to the point of exhaustion, where it physically and mentally taxes you, that to me could be burnout.
My husband mentally and physically taxes me, but that's not burnout.
Well, then you are having marital burnout. That is a thing.
All the women listening just went, that's me. That's me.
Yes.
I heard myself in there. Okay, so let's talk about the signs of burnout. So here are the clinical. So when we talk about clinical, what a therapist would diagnose you with. First one is feeling out of control. Everything is overwhelming. You no longer can control getting the kids up, making the lunches, going to work, coming home, making the dinner, walking the dog. All of that stuff is just too much. The second one is the one you mentioned, exhaustion. And it's not just I'm tired because I put in an 8-hour day and I don't want to go to the gym and I want to sit on my bed and eat bonbons and watch Netflix. Not that I do that, but may have done that in the past. It's a bigger exhaustion. It's like overwhelm of the thought of getting up and making the lunch. Okay. The next one is reduced interest in work or personal life. Don't feel like going to work. Don't feel like helping people. Now, this is a big one for therapists because you all know I'm a clinician. We have a 10-year early death rate among us because we are listening to people complain all day, a lot, about everything. And when we burn out, we not only don't want to listen to you complain, we want to complain and no one wants to listen to us. So it's very interesting for what you do in terms of burnout. The next one is physical disturbances, similar to stress, but more pronounced. So you're a nutritionist, stomach ache, right? Craving cake, candy, pasta, mashed potatoes, home
and
cooked
then you
meal.
do end up with the stomach ache.
Correct. Yep.
But it's more than that. It's the digestive changes that your body actually physically goes through because your cortisol levels stay up high. Your stress response is sometimes it's not eating. Sometimes you're so overwhelmed with what's happening that you don't eat. So, and then your digestive system is in a state of chaos. It could be diarrhea, it could be constipation, and anything from one end to the other.
And those of you that just went, oh, that's how I could lose weight. I just need to be burnt out so I don't eat. That is not a viable solution to weight loss, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
The next one is feeling helpless, trapped, detached, defeated, sarcastic. I give up, right? We've all known somebody who says, you know what? I'm just tired of everything. I quit, right? Usually in this stage, we end up in front of a therapist going, I'm depressed. because they don't really know what burnout is. And the therapist goes, not a problem. Let me send you to a psychiatrist who will write a prescription for that. And now you're on Cymbalta, you're on Wellbutrin. One of these days, Big Pharma is going to sue me. You're on all the garbage for depression, but you're really not depressed, you're burnt out. So that's what happens next. And then if you don't get medicated, you end up disregarding your responsibilities, forgetting to make lunch, forgetting to pick up Susie from school, and there she is standing in the rain at 4:30 in the afternoon because you forgot. Becoming isolated. Your friends want to go out for lunch, you don't want to go. Arguing, starting a fight in Walmart, other than the normal crazy Walmart stuff. And of course, my field, substance abuse. I end up with a lot of high functioning executives that come to me and say, I just can't handle all of this stuff going on, all this noise. Noise at work, noise at home. There's noise everywhere. And I got to drink to bring it down a notch.
Well, and here's what's interesting. The two primary people who experience burnout the most are your type A personalities. So
that's me.
Your executives, your
Woo-hoo!
physicians, I mean, people who are on all the time, and your caregivers, people who are on for someone else all the time. They're working to take care of kids. They're taking care of elderly parents. I mean, I know you joked about Gen X, but we are now in the perfect middle ground for being there to take care of both our aging parents and our children that that are growing up in our household. So sometimes end up right in the middle of that.
I put both my parents on notice, and this is probably horrible. Do not come to me to change your diaper. I will pay for someone to do it for you, but I am not the caregiver. I am the type A executive. So,
and you've also said that our parents will come to me.
Yes, that's a great idea. You can have them both. You can have both their crazy, all their chaos at one time.
Yes.
Not for me. So, yeah, you're right, though. Gen X has kids they're dealing with. Gen X has parents.
Elderly, aging parents that may need them and need those resources coming soon.
Most of my friends are getting divorced. So it's that on top of it. Career changes, divorce, midlife crises. I'm watching half my friends are like, I'm going to get a boob job and I'm going to learn pole dancing and I just bought a Corvette. And I'm like, whoa, we're all having midlife crises at the same time. And I'm over here going, I'm deciding if I should get my first round of Botox, and most of my friends are already frozen face. So Gen X is, and we handle stress a lot better than I think any generation because we raised ourselves. I mean, we were the latchkey kids. We didn't have parents. So a lot of stress we handle, but we do break. And when we break, everything goes to shit because we're the caregivers, we're the cleaners, we're the cookers, we're the transportation. We answer the husband when he opens the refrigerator and goes, where's the ketchup? And you're looking at it going, second shelf, right behind the milk. You know where it is. For some reason, he can't put his hand in there and move stuff around. We're doing all this stuff that burnout is imminent,
And oddly enough, one of the, I'm going to use the term self-care loosely here because of how it works. One of the things that especially women love to do at the end of the night might be have that glass of wine as they consider self-care. It's their time to relax, to unwind. And as much as that can be a good form of relaxing with one glass or two, it actually is one of the few components that can really exacerbate burnout. So those who aren't exercising on a regular basis, women, and this does go for men too, but women are the ones who are predominantly expressing this burnout, these symptoms. Men don't generally report this as much, but not working out on a consistent basis, being obese, and actually being a heavy drinker. So drinking to excess actually can increase the likelihood of burnout. And you may think, oh, I'm just going out on a Friday night to, release all my stress with my friends and end up, drinking way too much every week. It's going to spiral you into another problem that you're going to have to deal with down the road.
So you said two very important pieces of information right there. Actually, you said three. One, was nutrition. If you are eating garbage, you're already taxing your endocrine system, your adrenal system. You're already going to be tired. So
Right.
Pop-Tarts and Hot Pockets are not food. Feeding the kid chicken nuggets and macaroni and cheese, as much as it's easy, it's not food, especially if you're eating it. Your body's
Right.
already going to be taxed from that, which makes disease and inflammation. And inflammation goes up, it causes disease. It also causes burnout. All of these things are related. So you have to eat healthy. Whether you want to or not, you have to. The second one you talked about, alcohol. A lot of people use alcohol, they use opiates, they use Xanax, they use anything they can get their hands on to quote unquote tune out the noise. So if I take a glass of wine, I can unwind. The problem is wine is basically poison. There's nothing in wine that's really good for you. So I think I'm relaxing, but I'm really not. Again, I'm taxing my physical system. So it's one
Right.
more hurdle my physical system has to dig out of. And then, like most of my clients, that one glass of wine turns into 2, turns into 3, turns into, I'm going to start drinking at 2 o'clock while I'm on a Zoom call, and I'm going to put it in a coffee mug. And next thing you know, they have an alcohol problem. So that's huge. Another piece is exercise. People laugh at me because I get up, I put my gym clothes on, and I don't come out of my gym clothes until I've gone to the gym. That means if it's 8:30 at night, I'm still in my gym clothes if I haven't worked out, and I'm going to work out. And that's important because people say I don't have time to work out, and I do it in 15-minute increments. So I
But
may
you
get up.
also, you're not only working out for the physical benefits, you're also working out, which is what everybody needs to do, for the emotional and mental health benefits of exercise.
Right.
And that's a huge part of combating the burnout syndrome, because it is physical and emotional, mental, and just simply doing that 15 minutes gets so many pieces of your day on break. Do you know what I mean? For that 15 minutes to allow you to get out of your head, being CEO, being all things for everybody, and you're going, I don't have to think of anything but what I need to do. And you're hitting every part of your body to be physically affected, but you're also changing your headspace.
Right. And one of the things I do, like at night, I know I don't sleep well unless I've done some form of workout, whether it's 15 minutes of yoga, 15 minutes of Zumba, which is 5 Zumba songs on the YouTube. I've got a commercial gym in my house, so 15 minutes on the gauntlet, 15 minutes on the deck, something. And then if I really want to work out, I'll go to the gym and I'll be around people, but not around people, because put my headset in, put my, my baseball cap on, but I'm around people and I'm watching them work out, which makes me want to work out. So that's key to everything. Even if it's 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, sneaking it in, when you can, you have to sneak it in because it helps with all the physical symptoms, but also with the mental systems. It's a de-stressor, and it's a great serotonin booster for the happy chemical.
Well, exactly, because if you are constantly stressed, your cortisol levels stay elevated, you're affecting your adrenals, you're going to fatigue them and literally burn them out. And like you said, it's going to change, especially for women, there's going to be rapid change in your hormone. It'll be imbalanced. Everything will be off, which is going to cause that many more symptoms physically, mentally, and emotionally, all stemming from not finding that balance, to keep yourself out of burnout.
And that's self-care, which comes along with taking a hot bath at night and not answering the phone past a certain hour or getting off your social media. And I work with CEOs that say to me, I'm on Zooms from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, to the point where they're eating on the Zoom because they're not taking any kind of break. They're not going to the bathroom. They're not doing anything. And you have to decompress from social media. You have to decompress from your phone. You have to unplug from technology, because that in itself causes all kinds of physical problems. So if you're always on your phone, you're always checking things, you're always checking your email, and you're always in a state of flux of I might miss something, which is a whole nother episode. We're going to talk about FOMO, fear of missing out. that causes burnout. So you have to be able to step back and relax from all this stuff, because if you work for someone else, at the end of the day, you are replaceable, period. As much as people like to say, they need me, they can replace you. I've owned enough companies and worked for enough companies that you are an expendable person. So if you die tomorrow, they're going to hire by next week. Now, if you own your own company, of course, you're going to want to make more money. You're going to want to put more hours in. It's also about systems, which we're going to get into in other podcasts, and how to make your money work for you, which is a whole other ball game that we're going to talk about, especially in our life coach course we have coming up, the life coach method, on how to work less, make more money, and make a bigger footprint, help more people. There's a way to do that without burning out yourself. It's just knowing how to make it happen, because a lot of people don't know how to do it, and they don't have healthy boundaries. They don't say, I'm doing this is my time. They don't tell their husband, I don't want to go out Friday night because I'm tired. I don't want to go have dinner with that couple that I can't stand because, it's a fake conversation. They don't want to let their friends go from high school or college, even though they're now 35 with 2 kids and they're tired. So all of those things have to be in consideration when you talk about lifestyle.
Yeah, because I think women in general think we need to be all things to all people at all times, or we're letting some ball drop somewhere, somehow, and then we take on the guilt of that, which that's probably a whole nother episode too. But
I don't have that at all, which
but
I know
most
people
do.
Most people do.
Many women especially have this society pressure that they're supposed to be able to do all the things that we did as 1950s women when we also didn't work 45, 50-hour or more work week, and be home and have everything ready in the evening and just the leave it to beaver mentality, which great, but it doesn't work all the time. But really bringing it back is, taking care of your physical body day to day will allow you to start to recharge your mind. And working those two key components together is going to really keep the burnout from hitting critical mass. That's the most important thing, because you can't just get up and stop everything that you might be doing. I mean, as a surgeon, you can't just decide you're not, you can't do the surgery. As the CEO, you can't just decide I'm not running the company necessarily on any given day, so you have to implement things that are going to help you work on managing that balance. So things like we've talked about already, like diet and exercise, staying hydrated. That's huge. I mean, I know how many times if I don't have a glass or a bottle of water near me, I don't think of it. It's not something I think of. You mentioned earlier about not sleeping well. Our minds are always running. Half the reason you probably don't sleep well is because you're thinking of all the things you're ready, preparing to do the next day. So finding a way, an outlet to keep that pen and paper on the nightstand before you go to bed and jot down the things that are running through your head to allow you to have a mental break. I think connecting with friends is another one that's huge. All too often, and I did say, women are more apt to report burnout, and we'll talk about it, but making sure that we don't stay isolated, in what we feel, I think is a huge thing, that we have to make sure that people know that you're not alone, that it's okay to mention it to friends. It's okay to go out and say, hey, I need to connect. I need to go, let's go do something, let's go play mini golf.
And the reverse of that is true, because some of us get our energy alone and some of us get our energy in groups. You're a group person. When you love to be around people, you're very social, you get your energy around people. People fucking exhaust me, because as soon as I'm around them, they want me to solve every issue they have. And I'm listening to this one's problems and that one's, and I do this for a living. So I don't want to hear your problems. So I would rather be alone than around people. So for me, it's the opposite. So if you're listening, don't think that you need to go out and have coffee if it's something you don't want to do. I'm
Right.
perfectly happy not doing it. And people say, do you have friends? Yeah, we talk on the phone. I have 2 girlfriends. We meet up for girls once a year, weekend, whatever. And we're perfectly fine with that. I have a friend I talk to once every 2 years, Anna. We're fine with that. We pick up right where we left off because we don't need to be out there around each other for the energy. It's just different types of people. So you have to know what recharges your battery and what makes you
Right.
tick. So if you need that socialization, get out and do it. If you need that alone time, take it. Shut the bathroom door, grab a book, dim the lights, take a hot bath, and totally veg out or put on a podcast. If you're super feeling depressed, watch a comedy. Watch a YouTube stand-up video. I always watch Jeff Dunham. I love Jeff Dunham. So when I want to laugh and he brings out, silence, I kill you, I'm laughing my ass off at that. And I mean, it's not even funny for a lot of people, but I think it's hilarious. So getting out of the mindset into a positive mindset is key to combating burnout. But it has to
so
start.
Basically, whatever allows you to feel like you're getting a break, whatever that is.
Exactly. And it has to start with the physical first. You cannot dig the mental out if you're eating pizza and garbage and not working out and on your phone constantly. Your mental is not going to get better until you change the physical. It's always chemical first.
Right.
Then from there, you can change the mental. Any other tips or tricks that you have for us?
That's all I could think of. Yeah, no, I mean, the other one that everybody loves to use, mindfulness. It's, a good buzzword these days, but I think understanding and being aware of what you're feeling in general, just being mindful of how much you're actually doing in a day and how you feel about it, where that is. Again, we're trying to alleviate hitting critical mass burnout so that you can say, okay, you know what? It's not like this isn't like a one-day thing. Okay, I had a really hard day and I need to go, sleep an extra 5 hours. Okay, you know what? Great, that's a day, and you move on. This is like, a time frame. And you realize that over this time frame, you're increasingly getting more stressed and more anxious, or you're gaining a lot of weight, or you're just feeling generally poor of health. Being mindful of what's leading up to that might even be your first step. Knowing I'm taking on too much and allowing yourself that time to go, I need a break. Simple, well, whatever form that break takes.
That goes back to no is a complete sentence.
Yep.
No. I have no problem telling people I'm not doing that. And they're like, oh, well, you have such an attitude. You never want to do anything. I'm not doing it. I don't feel like doing it. And I'm at an age where I don't have to go out and do small talk if I don't want to anymore. A lot of people feel obligated to do that. And then to talk about nothing for hours. And they just feel like, well, I just wasted 3 hours having dinner and talked about nothing. And it wasn't accomplishing anything. And now I'm even more tired after working a full day, taking care of a baby, and I got to work tomorrow. So you can say no, and that's okay. And as you go through different stages of your life, you're going to find out that when you're young, you want to go out, you want to party, you want to do all that. Once you start having kids, it's harder to go out during the work week. You're tired. You put in a full day. You have kids in the morning, you have kids at night. It's hard to go out for a 2-hour dinner. And then on the weekend, sometimes you've got soccer practice and baseball practice and cheerleading practice and drama and all this stuff. And your friend goes, well, you don't have time for me anymore. So yeah, that's the case. I mean, that's kind of how it is. And the kids get older and they go to college. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I have all this free time. And you want to go out with everybody. So it's not abnormal to want to take a break. You just have to know when you need that break and give yourself that space before you get into the burnout phase.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
So keeping in line with our short podcast as you're driving to and from work or going to the bathroom or taking a shower, whatever it is you're doing.
Or taking that break so that you don't burn out.
Yes, listening to us. We appreciate it. We love you. Give us a big like. Follow us on iTunes and iHeartRadio. Go over to Life Coach Method. Check out what we're up to. Give us a call if you want to get involved, and we will see you on the next podcast.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes and Master Coach Jenny Fontana. Head over to www.thelifecoachmethod.com to learn more about coaching yourself and how to become a master coach.